Before garden centers existed, people grew everything they ate using methods that cost nothing. Kitchen scraps became fertilizer. Weeds became plant food. Newspaper became mulch. During the Second World War, over 20 million American households grew 40% of the nation's vegetables without a single commercial product. They used vinegar, coffee grounds, wood ash, old newspapers, and the accumulated knowledge of generations who never needed a store to grow a harvest. The United States Department of Agriculture, Oregon State University, Cornell University, and the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension have all published research confirming these techniques still work. The knowledge was never lost. It was simply made to look outdated. Until now. Here are 25 gardening tricks your grandparents used that still work today. Trick 1. Killing weeds with vinegar. Your grandparents did not buy herbicide. They used vinegar. United States Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Research Service. Scientists tested vinegar on major weed species, including Canada thistle, lamb's quarters, giant foxtail, and smooth pigweed, in both greenhouse and field studies. Household strength vinegar, at 5% concentration, killed weeds within their first 2 weeks of life. At 20% concentration, vinegar achieved an 85 to 100% kill rate at all growth stages. The University of Maryland Extension confirmed vinegar as a viable alternative to glyphosate for small-scale organic weed control. Mix vinegar with water at a 1:2 ratio. Spray directly on weed foliage during hot, sunny afternoons when evaporation accelerates dehydration. Target young weeds with only 1 or 2 leaves for the highest kill rate. Avoid spraying desirable plants, as vinegar is non-selective. Trick 2. Seed saving. Before the seed industry existed, every farmer was a seed saver. Open-pollinated and heirloom varieties produce seeds that grow true to the parent plant, meaning you can save seeds from this year's harvest and plant them next year for free. The University of Illinois Extension published a detailed comparison of F1 hybrid versus heirloom seed, confirming that hybrid seeds do not breed true in the following generation, while open-pollinated varieties reproduce reliably year after year. The University of Arizona Extension confirmed that locally saved seed adapts to regional conditions over successive seasons, producing increasingly resilient and productive plants. This research shows the value of saving seed for your own garden. Save seeds from your best-performing open-pollinated plants. Dry them thoroughly on a screen or paper towel. Store them in a cool, dark, dry location. Pole beans, tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, and peas are among the easiest crops to save seed from. Your grandparents never bought seed twice for the same variety. Trick 3. Honey and cinnamon for rooting cuttings. Commercial rooting hormone is a synthetic auxin sold in small bottles for $8 to $12. Your grandparents used honey and cinnamon. Honey is a natural antimicrobial that seals the cut stem against infection and provides sugars that feed beneficial microbes at the wound site. Cinnamon is a documented antifungal that suppresses damping off and rot, the 2 most common causes of cutting failure. Mix equal parts raw honey and cinnamon powder into a thick paste. Dip the freshly cut end of your cutting into the paste and plant immediately into moist potting mix. Rose, jasmine, lavender, and most woody herb cuttings respond well to this method. Trick 4. Deep root watering with buried pots and bottles. Surface watering evaporates before reaching the root zone. Your grandparents buried perforated containers next to plant bases, so water was delivered directly to the deep roots. The University of Arizona Extension documented this technique as a proven water conservation method for arid climates, confirming water savings of 50 to 70% compared to surface irrigation. Take a plastic bottle or a small clay pot. Drill or punch holes around the lower half. Bury it next to the plant base with the opening at the soil surface. Fill it with water. The water seeps slowly through the holes directly into the root zone, encouraging deep root growth and eliminating surface evaporation. Refill every few days. Trick 5. Charcoal in pots. Before perlite and vermiculite were sold in bags, gardeners used wood charcoal at the bottom of containers. Cornell University research on terra preta documented biochar, which is charcoal produced by burning wood in low oxygen conditions, as a habitat for beneficial soil microbes that improve nutrient cycling and plant growth. Charcoal also improves drainage, helps prevent root rot, reduces pot weight, and provides a permanent pore structure that does not break down over time. Line the bottom 1 inch of any pot with clean hardwood charcoal before adding soil. The charcoal lasts indefinitely and can be reused when repotting. Never use charcoal briquettes because they contain chemical binders. Trick 6. Multi-seeding technique. Your grandparents did not plant 1 seed per cell. They planted 3 to 5 seeds together. The seedlings grow upward in a tight cluster, naturally pushing each other apart as they develop, and can be transplanted as a clump without thinning. This technique works especially well for beets, radishes, onions, and leeks, crops where multiple plants per station produce full-sized harvests without competition problems. Drop 3 to 5 seeds into each cell or planting hole. Water normally. Transplant the entire cluster together without separating. The plants establish faster, shade out weeds between them, and produce comparable yields to individually spaced plants with half the transplanting labor. Trick 7. Olla irrigation. This is a 4,000-year-old method documented in ancient Chinese and Middle Eastern agricultural texts. An unglazed terracotta pot, buried in the soil and filled with water, releases moisture slowly through its porous walls directly into the surrounding root zone. The University of Arizona Extension and the Kansas State University Extension documented olla systems as highly effective water delivery methods, confirming water savings of 50 to 70% compared to conventional watering. Bury an unglazed clay pot up to its neck in the garden bed. Fill it with water and cover the opening with a flat stone or saucer to prevent evaporation. The clay walls allow water to seep outward at a rate governed by soil moisture. When the surrounding soil is dry, water moves through the walls faster. When it is moist, the flow slows. The system is self-regulating and eliminates both overwatering and underwatering. Trick 8. Board germination trick. After sowing seeds and watering, your grandparents laid a wooden board or sheet of cardboard directly on the soil surface. The board traps moisture, maintains consistent soil temperature, blocks light that inhibits germination in certain species, and protects seeds from birds, insects, and wind displacement. Clemson University Extension documented cardboard as a beneficial soil-covering material that retains moisture and suppresses weeds while decomposing into organic matter. Lay the board immediately after sowing. Check daily. Remove the board the moment sprouts appear to prevent etiolation. This method is particularly effective for carrots, parsley, and other slow-germinating seeds that require sustained moisture over 10 to 20 days. Trick 9. Aspirin spray for plant immunity. Aspirin contains salicylic acid, the same compound plants produce naturally when under pathogenic attack. The United States Department of Agriculture Agricultural Research Service published research confirming that exogenous salicylic acid triggers systemic acquired resistance in plants, essentially priming the immune system to respond faster and more aggressively to infection. A follow-up study published in AgResearch magazine confirmed that salicylic acid applications reduce disease severity across multiple crop types. Dissolve 1 regular aspirin tablet in 1 quart of water. Spray on foliage in the early morning once every 2 to 3 weeks during the growing season. You are not treating a disease. You are activating the plant's own defense system before disease arrives. Trick 10. Aloe vera gel as rooting hormone. Fresh aloe vera gel contains salicylic acid, natural auxins, and antimicrobial compounds that promote root initiation and protect cuttings from fungal infection. While formal university trials are limited, the mechanism is consistent with documented plant hormone science and has been practiced by propagation specialists for decades. Slice a fresh aloe leaf and scrape out the clear gel. Dip the cut end of your cutting directly into the gel and plant immediately. The gel seals the wound, delivers growth-promoting compounds to the cambium layer, and creates a moist antimicrobial environment that supports root development over the first critical weeks. Trick 11. Gardening by the rain. Your grandparents sowed seed on rainy days for a reason. Rainwater is naturally soft, slightly acidic, with a pH near 5.6, and it contains dissolved atmospheric nitrogen in the form of nitrate and ammonium ions produced by lightning and atmospheric chemistry. These properties make rainwater measurably superior to tap water for seed germination and seedling establishment. Municipal water often contains chlorine and chloramine, which can suppress the beneficial microbes seeds need during their first days of growth. Watch the forecast. It's the morning of a predicted rain. The natural irrigation saves labor, delivers nitrogen for free, and provides the gentle, even moisture distribution that no watering can replicate. Trick 12. Recycling nutrients from urine. This is the trick nobody talks about, and everybody's grandparents practiced it. Human urine is approximately 11% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, and 2% potassium. That makes an NPK ratio comparable to many commercial liquid fertilizers. The Peace Corps published field research documenting urine as an effective and safe nitrogen source for crop production when diluted and applied properly. Dilute fresh urine at a ratio of 1:10 with water. Apply it directly to the soil at the base of established plants, never on the foliage. Use it on heavy nitrogen feeders like corn, squash, and leafy greens. Do not apply within 4 weeks of harvest on food crops that are eaten raw. The nitrogen is immediately plant available, and it costs absolutely nothing. Trick 13. Wartime pig clubs. During the Second World War, British and American communities formed neighborhood pig clubs. Members pooled kitchen scraps and fed a communal pig raised in a backyard or allotment. The pig converted waste into meat and produced manure rich enough to fertilize the community's vegetable gardens for the entire growing season. The system recycled 100% of household food waste, produced free protein, and eliminated the need for purchased fertilizer. The concept is historical, but the closed-loop nutrient cycling principle it demonstrates remains the foundation of every modern regenerative farming system. Trick 14. Epsom salt for tomatoes. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. Magnesium is the central atom of the chlorophyll molecule. Without it, photosynthesis cannot function, and fruit production stalls. North Dakota State University Extension published a careful assessment noting that Epsom salt is beneficial only when a genuine magnesium deficiency exists, and that indiscriminate application can cause nutrient imbalances. Oregon State University Extension confirmed the same finding in their myth-busting series. The correct application is targeted, not routine. If your tomato leaves show interveinal chlorosis, yellowing between the veins while the veins stay green, Dissolve 1 teaspoon of Epsom salt per quart of water and apply at the base every 2 weeks until symptoms resolve. If your soil test shows adequate magnesium, skip it entirely. Your grandparents used Epsom salt when they saw the symptom, not as a blanket prescription. Trick 15. Turmeric powder for root protection. Turmeric contains curcumin, a compound with documented antibacterial and antifungal properties. While formal garden-specific university trials are limited, the antimicrobial mechanism is well established in biomedical research, and it has been used by traditional farmers across South Asia for centuries. Sprinkle turmeric powder directly on pruning wounds, on transplant root balls, or around the base of plants that are susceptible to fungal rot. The powder creates a physical and chemical barrier that inhibits pathogenic colonization. It also deters ants and aphids through its strong aromatic compounds. A $1 bag of turmeric from the grocery store provides a season's supply. Trick 16. Liquid fertilizer from Comfrey. Comfrey is a deep-rooted perennial that mines potassium, phosphorus, calcium, and trace minerals from subsoil layers that shallow-rooted vegetables cannot reach. Cornell University Small Farms research documented Comfrey as a dynamic accumulator, a plant that concentrates specific minerals in its leaf tissue at levels far above what the surrounding soil contains. Harvest Comfrey leaves, pack them into a bucket and cover with water. Let the mixture steep for 3 to 6 weeks until it turns dark brown and develops a strong smell. Dilute the concentrate 1 to 20 with fresh water before use. Apply as a potassium-rich liquid feed to tomatoes, peppers, squash, and other fruiting crops throughout the season. The Comfrey plant regrows and can be harvested 3 to 4 times per year. One plant produces fertilizer indefinitely. Washington State University Extension published peer-reviewed research confirming that newspaper mulch suppresses weeds, retains soil moisture, moderates soil temperature, and decomposes into organic matter that feeds the soil biology. Modern newspaper ink is soy-based and safe for garden use. Layer 4 to 5 sheets of wet newspaper between garden rows. Cover with a thin layer of grass, clippings, straw, or leaves to hold the paper in place and to block sunlight. The newspaper smothers weed seeds completely while allowing water and air to pass through. By the end of the season, the paper has decomposed into the soil, adding carbon and improving structure. The cost is zero. Trick 18. Making fertilizer from soaked weeds. Every weed you pull contains nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and trace minerals extracted from your soil. Throwing weeds away is throwing away free fertilizer. Your grandparents soaked pulled weeds in a barrel of water for 2 to 4 weeks to create a nitrogen-rich liquid feed called weed tea. Fill a bucket or barrel with freshly pulled weeds. Cover with water. Weigh the weeds down so they stay submerged. Cover loosely and let the mixture steep for 2 to 4 weeks. The decomposition process releases dissolved nutrients into the water. Strain the liquid and dilute 1 to 10 with fresh water. Apply to the base of heavy feeding crops. The smell is strong. The results are immediate. Trick 19. Egg cartons as seed starter trays. Cardboard egg cartons filled with potting mix make excellent biodegradable seed starting cells. Mississippi State University Extension published a guide documenting this method for indoor seed starting. Each cell holds enough soil to support a seedling through its first 3 to 4 weeks. When transplanting, tear the cells apart and plant each one directly into the garden. The cardboard decomposes around the root ball, eliminating transplant shock entirely. Poke a small drainage hole in the bottom of each cell. Fill with moist seed starting mix. Sow 1 to 2 seeds per cell. Water from below by placing the carton in a shallow tray. Transplant when the seedling has 2 to 4 true leaves. Trick 20. Coffee grounds for soil improvement. Oregon State University Extension published research confirming that used coffee grounds improve soil structure, attract earthworms, and help control slugs when applied appropriately. The grounds are near neutral in pH, roughly 6.5 to 6.8, debunking the myth that they acidify soil significantly. Sprinkle used coffee grounds as a thin top dressing around acid-loving plants like blueberries, roses, and azaleas, or add them to compost piles where they contribute nitrogen and feed decomposing microbes. Do not apply thick layers directly to the soil surface, as the grounds can form a water-repellent crust. Thin, scattered applications mixed with mulch work best. Trick 21. The no-dig gardening method. This is the oldest cultivation method on the list, and the one with the most modern scientific validation. Oregon State University Extension confirmed that no-till gardening builds healthier soil by preserving the fungal networks, earthworm tunnels, and aggregate structures that tilling destroys. The University of Vermont Extension documented the no-dig method as producing equivalent or superior yields to tilled beds, while reducing labor, improving water retention, and increasing biological activity in the soil profile year over year. Never turn the soil. Add 2 to 3 inches of finished compost as a top layer each fall. Plant directly into the surface, and let earthworms and soil biology incorporate the organic matter downward. By the 3rd season, the bed will be looser, darker, and more productive than any tilled bed in the neighborhood. Trick 22. Pine needles for weed control. North Carolina State University Extension published a detailed fact sheet that debunks the myth that pine needle mulch significantly acidifies soil. The reality is that pine needles decompose slowly, and they maintain a loose, airy mulch layer that blocks weed germination while allowing excellent water infiltration. As the needles break down over time, they add organic matter to the soil surface. Iowa State University Extension confirmed pine needles as an effective and attractive mulch option for vegetable and ornamental beds. Spread dry pine needles 2 to 3 inches deep around plants and between rows. The needles interlock naturally and resist wind displacement better than most organic mulches. They are free wherever pine trees grow, and a single collection can last an entire season. Trick 23. Slanted side cups for seed starting. Your grandparents saved cups and containers with slanted, tapered sides, the shape of a standard paper drinking cup or yogurt container, because the truncated cone shape allows the entire root ball to slide out cleanly when transplanting. Straight-sided containers trap the root ball, and inward-sloping sides compress it. Only outward-sloping sides release the root ball without disturbance. Save any cup or container with sides that angle outward from base to rim. Punch drainage holes in the bottom. Fill with seed starting mix and sow normally. When transplanting, squeeze the sides gently. Invert the cup, and the root ball slides out, intact with zero root disturbance. This eliminates transplant shock and saves the cost of commercial cell trays. Trick 24. Effective weeding strategy in hot sun. Your grandparents weeded at midday, in the hottest sun, not because they enjoyed the heat, but because the strategy is biologically effective. Weeds pulled and left on the soil surface in direct afternoon sun die within hours. The roots desiccate, the foliage withers, and the dead material decomposes in place, returning nutrients to the soil as a thin organic top dressing. Weeds pulled on cloudy days or in the morning can reroot overnight if any soil contact remains on the root system. The midday sun eliminates that risk entirely. Pull weeds, roots and all, shake off excess soil, and leave them where they fall. The sun does the rest. No green bin, no composting, no labor beyond the pull. Trick 25. Wood chip paths into fertilizer. Oklahoma State University Extension and Oregon State University Extension documented wood chips as an effective, beneficial mulch material. They suppress weeds, retain moisture, and over time decompose into nutrient-rich organic matter. Your grandparents laid free wood chips as paths between garden beds. After 1 to 2 years of foot traffic, rain, and microbial decomposition, those path chips break down into a dark, crumbly material that is functionally identical to aged compost. Shovel the decomposed chips onto your beds as a free soil amendment and replace the path with a fresh layer. The paths become a slow composting system that produces free fertilizer on a rolling 2-year cycle. Contact local arborists or use the chip drop platform for free delivery. But it survived. The knowledge of how to garden without buying products never disappeared. While the garden industry consolidated around synthetic fertilizers, bottled sprays, and single-use plastic products, victory gardeners, homesteaders, and stubborn kitchen gardeners preserved these methods through generations of commercial pressure to abandon them. USDA scientists confirmed vinegar as a weed killer. Oregon State confirmed coffee grounds and no-dig methods. University of Arizona confirmed olla irrigation and deep watering systems. Washington State confirmed newspaper mulch. Cornell documented Comfrey as a dynamic accumulator. Mississippi State documented egg carton seed starting. North Carolina State debunked the pine needle acidification myth. The science validated what grandparents already knew. Victory gardeners in 1943 grew 40% of the nation's vegetables without a single commercial product. Wartime pig clubs recycled every scrap of kitchen waste into meat and fertilizer. Seed savers maintained heirloom varieties for decades without buying a packet. Newspaper covered every weed. Vinegar killed every thistle. Comfrey fed every tomato. The methods never failed. They were simply replaced by products that needed to be repurchased. Today, that knowledge is accelerating. Not because the industry promoted it, but because gardeners watching their costs climb past hundreds of dollars per season started asking why their grandparents grew more food for less money using nothing but kitchen scraps, common sense, and the land itself. The silence around these methods is breaking. You can grow what they made you forget. Start with what you have. If you have vinegar, you have a weed killer. If you have newspaper, you have mulch. If you have coffee grounds, you have a soil amendment. If you have a clay pot, you have an irrigation system. If you have comfrey growing anywhere on your property, you have a fertilizer factory for life. If you have seeds from an open pollinated plant, you never need to buy that variety again. The total investment for all 25 tricks is effectively $0. Every method uses materials already present in your kitchen, your yard, or your recycling bin. That is less than the cost of a single trip to the garden center, and these methods do not stop working when the bag is empty, the bottle runs dry, or the season ends. Vinegar kills weeds every summer. Newspapers mulch every row. Coffee grounds feed every worm. Wood chips decompose into fertilizer year after year. Comfrey regrows after every cutting. Seed saving multiplies your harvest forever. The $60 billion garden products industry profits from the assumption that growing food requires continuous purchasing. These 25 tricks begin with the opposite truth, that every input your garden needs is already within reach, and the only thing standing between you and a productive, self-sustaining garden is the knowledge your grandparents carried and the industry taught you to forget. The knowledge was never lost. It was waiting in the vinegar bottle, in the newspaper stack, in the comfrey patch, in the egg carton, in the wood chip path, in the hands of gardeners who never needed a garden center to feed their families. If this seed was finally freed for you, subscribe to Hank's gardening journey and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps break the silence. The next seed breaks free soon.